MIIM members and friends in Germany, and a good afternoon to everyone joining us from India. We are delighted to have you with us today for a high impact webinar, Opportunities for German Businesses, Financial Institutions, Research Centers, and GCC Establishment in Gujarat's one and only Gift City. The session is brought to you under the Make in India Mittelstand program, together with our knowledge partner, Rodel, the Financial Services Center Authority, GIFT City, Invest India, and our industry experts from Infineon and Deutsche Bank. I'm Mona Desai-Tanshe, your MIIM coordinator in Germany, and I'm excited to guide you through what promises today to be an insightful and dynamic session. Before we begin, a quick look at the platform. On the upper right-hand corner, you will find the control panel where you can adjust your audio settings. Just below that, you'll see the question panel. Please feel free to send your questions at any time. However, we will take them up only during the Q&A round. For those who are joining us for the first time, a brief introduction of the Make in India Mittelstand program. MIIM is an initiative of the Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade and the Embassy of India in Berlin. It serves as a dedicated platform supporting German Mittelstand companies and family-owned enterprises by integrating a wide range of services to facilitate your market entry and expansion in India. The program forms an important pillar for the Government of India's Make in India initiative. In today's webinar, our expert speakers will deliver focused, in-depth insights into Gift City, highlighting the strategic advantages of establishing a presence there and how businesses can leverage its ecosystem to strengthen operations and enhance profitability. We shall commence today's webinar with an address by Mr. Harkirat Singh Randhawa, Second Secretary, with us from the Embassy of India. Mr. Randhawa, we are delighted to have you join us here today and give us the welcome remarks. The floor is all yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Monaz. Welcome again to all of the participants. Good morning, good afternoon. As part of the Make in India Mittelstand program, we have held a long-standing series of webinars, seminars, and roundtables to explore areas which we feel are of great interest to German companies, particularly Mittelstand, and the possibilities of their collaboration, investment, and entry into India. Today's webinar is particularly timely. The opportunities for German businesses, financial institutions, research centers, and GCCs in the Gujarat Gift City. Gift City represents one of the most ambitious and important steps taken by the Government of India for creating a new system of financial and economic services regulation and management. We feel that there is enormous potential and possibility for a broad range of German stakeholders, companies, as well as financial institutions, researchers, as well as the GCCs, which have grown very strongly in India. We feel that there is enormous potential at Gujarat Gift City, and we are very pleased to have with us the representatives and leadership of IFSCA as well as Invest India. And we are also pleased to have representatives of 3 companies to give us insights in a panel discussion. I look forward to productive discussions and engagements, and we are keen to see increasing involvement, investment, and collaboration by German stakeholders in Gift City, Gujarat. Thank you so much, and I look forward to the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Randhawa, for those opening remarks and encouraging and opening the session. So to begin our session, I'm delighted to welcome Mr. Ashutosh Sharma, Chief General Manager, Development at the International Financial Service Centers Authority. We are honored to have him here today and open today's discussion with his deep insights and experience. A brief introduction about Mr. Sharma. Mr. Sharma brings over 2 decades of experience across banking, technology, international business, regulatory affairs, and policy. At IFSCA, as it is called in brief, he has played a key role in shaping major regulations and driving the development of the broader financial ecosystem and emerging industries. His leadership has been instrumental in building the banking ecosystem at Gift City, now home to more than 25 banks, and in advancing India's aircraft leading hub. Prior to joining IFSCA, Mr. Sharma has an accomplished banker across several international financial centers. Thank you, Mr. Sharma, for joining us today, and I now pass on the virtual mic to you.
Mr. Sai, for very detailed introduction. Thanks to MIR team. I think I'm going to share a presentation here shortly. If you can see the presentation, please let me know. I hope my slides are visible.
Yes, yes, it's coming.
There, thank you. Now, as Mr. Hakirat ji mentioned about gift diversity, it's really an innovation and kind of a revolutionary idea that India has taken forward with respect to growth of financing ecosystem in India. I think before coming to gift, as I briefly explained the dependency of India, and we all know that India is one of the largest, fastest growing economy, and economy of this requires financing, and also offers opportunity to global investors at the same time. But I think before gift FSC came in being, India was literally dependent, whether MNC companies or Indian companies, they were dependent on foreign jurisdictions for taking foreign currency borrowing or foreign currency investment for anything linked with foreign currency, whether it's through the funds ecosystem or through the derivative markets or through the banking debt. It is coming through other jurisdictions. And what government of India has done is that it has decided that we need to bring a lot of this skill set into the country because when country is growing at a specific pace and speed, we need a supporting ecosystem in a manner that it is aligned with the growth and need of the country while offering the solution to the world. So we are working with a vision where we are saying that we want to bring all those financial services in Gift FSC so that Gift FSC can actually work as a global financial center, true global financial center, which is being developed for India, for the world. And we are trying to develop here some niche and specialized businesses such as aircraft, ship leasing, fintech, global treasury centers. And at the same time, we are ensuring the skill sets also. Where we stand in 2020 is when IFSC, which I represent, International Financial Service Center Authority, is a unified regulator for GIFT IFSC. We are responsible for both regulation as well as development of this ecosystem. We were established in 2020 October, and since then we have brought out various regulations and frameworks, which I will briefly touch upon, considering the paucity of time, and we will discuss later what and how we can engage more on those ecosystems. Just to help you understand, what you see on the screen is in the center is gift FSC, and on the right side is domestic part of India, and the left side is outside of India. When global MNCs, including German institutions, think of India, they have always experienced a domestic India. And domestic India, what they are responsible to do is that they can do business only in Indian rupee. They cannot do business in foreign currency. In gift FSA comparatively, they can do business in foreign currency only. They cannot do business in rupee, but they can do the expenses like salaries and rents, etc., in rupee terms. So, when German institutions, banks, or MNCs are thinking of entering into India, they have to think of it in two jurisdictions now. Rupee, they have to go into domestic zone. And anything to do with foreign currency, they have to think of gift FSC. And big German institutions which have in India, they have experienced that moving a capital, because India is never an open capital account country, which meant that when you have to move the capital from offshore into India or India to offshore, there are a lot of controls come into picture. We call it FEMA rules, which are coming from Reserve Bank of India, India's financial regulator. When entities come into GIFT FSC, this zone is outside the FEMA, which means that if you move the capital from anywhere in the world into IFSC or IFSC to the world, you do not require any approval. Is capital account convertibility has been achieved to that extent within GIFT IFSC. To benchmark this to other jurisdiction where other companies or treasury centers or financing companies are established, they have measured that typically they look at two things. One, they look at the regulatory framework, and we have benchmarked our regulations with best in the world for respective verticals. Second thing which has been critical is the tax framework. And what we have offered in Gift FSC now in this budget, it has been extended from 10 to 20. So any entity coming into Gift FSC, they have a tax holiday for 20 years consecutive. And after the tax holiday, the tax rate applicable then is 15%. Whereas if they go in domestic tax rates apply. And from legal perspective, you are still in Indian jurisdiction. But from various laws, we have taken the carve outs because our focus, apart from regulation and tax, is on ease of doing business. For example, how easily you can form the company, how easily you can exit. Various laws, we have taken the carve outs. FSC, as I mentioned, is a regulator. It's a unified regulator for all the verticals, including capital market, insurance, pension fund, etc. These, what you see in the screen, is probably the most important slide because these are the verticals which we have enabled so far into GIFT FSC. First is banking, and banking, while we have 20 plus foreign banks, now we have actually now 38 banks total. We also have a bank like Deutsche Bank from Germany, and we have banks from almost every country in the world, including the banks which are never present in India like banks from Taiwan, banks from Middle East, French banks, they are also established in this jurisdiction. And they have grown now to the extent they are doing $111 billion of assets. Capital market, we have two exchanges, and these are both the domestic exchange NSE, BSE. They have established their global or offshore exchanges in GIFT FSC. They have done the listing of bonds, debt, as well as equity and derivatives as well. Asset management is a very critical area, and the ones lines which I have highlighted in brown intentionally because I think these are direct opportunities for German institution as we speak, considering the German India Connect is the fund management entities. I think asset management is a very big area. So far, European investors have been investing into Indian market through Singapore or Mauritius jurisdictions. Now we have given the tax predictability. So all the tax that are applicable on the fund manager, and these tax holidays are provided under Indian law. So these fund managers are no more dependent on the double tax treaties. Hence, more and more funds, including the sovereign funds like ADIA, they have established presence in GIFT FSC. We have more than 300 funds as we speak. The reinsurance again is a big market. A lot of India's reinsurance was going to European market, mainly in London because it's a big market on reinsurance. We have brought it back into GIFT FSC, and we have more than 28 reinsurance, including now the Lloyd's market is establishing in GIFT FSC. So reinsurance again is a big opportunity for German reinsurers. Among the niche institutions, we have finance companies. These are the companies that are doing lending activity, they're doing factoring activities. There are so many factors in Germany. They can look into these regimes because India as a market is growing as we are growing our exports. So is the need of our MSMEs for financing. And while the factors is a very evolved market in Germany, in India, factoring is still very, very niche, very selective. And there's huge opportunity in this scope, which we think that German factors can have a look into. Global Treasury Center again is a very specific vertical which we have established considering that domestic many companies in domestic India they have established their treasury centers overseas. And MNCs are also there. And these MNCs can take establish the treasury center in FSC. They can take the borrowing from global level into FSC, and from FSC they can lend to domestic ecosystem. Similarly, aircraft leasing and ship leasing, they are significant opportunities for German institutions, German investors. India has placed the largest order book for aircraft with a total capital requirement of $125 billion. We are rolling out red carpet for the aircraft lessors to establish an FSC to lease into India. And similarly, for ships, almost 93% of India's export is happening on foreign ships. And we want to bring ownership of those ships in GIFT FSC. We are coming out with a lot of enablers in this ecosystem. Uh, so these areas can be explored by German institutions. Apart from that, we have looked into a lot of Indian students. They go out. They have been going to European market, US market, less so in Germany, but recently movement to Germany has increased for various reasons. What we have enabled now is that in GIFT FSA, we have permitted that foreign universities can establish their education centers, their universities here, and three universities from UK, including Queen Belfast, and two universities they have already established their campuses here. We invite the German company, universities also to come closer to the Indian students and consider establishment here to provide the STEM educations. Similarly, I think global in-house centers and tech, these are technology ecosystems which we have enabled here. And we invite those companies to come to these ecosystems. These are the high level numbers. I think we'll share this subsequently for you to look into it. But at a very high level, we have now more than 1,200 companies operating in GIFT FSC. Total employment is almost 26,000, 27,000 people now. Banks are almost 38 banks from all the countries. And capital market, we have a listing of almost $70 billion of debt listing and more than 300 funds, as we have mentioned here. I think I will look at this slide, which I mentioned that you have tax holiday of 20 out of 25 years. After that, it is 15% tax. But beyond that, also there are various incentives provided to the institutions here, depending on which vertical you are looking at. So some are the horizontal benefits, other are the vertical benefits. I think when I look at what I'm sharing in this slide is probably the key entities in GIFT FSC and GIFT City, and you'll certainly see some of the names are coming from Germany as well. When we look at German institutions and German companies and domestic, I think there's a significant presence German companies, and a lot of these companies, if they come from the corporate side, they can look into Treasury Center and give the festival. Others can look at the specific verticals that I've highlighted. And on very high level, when we were looking at some of the mapping of these entities, we noticed that the likes of whether it's banking, whether it's insurance, whether it's logistics, whether it's industrial and automotive. All these companies at somewhere they have the opportunity to establish in gift FSC. I think I will stop sharing the slide now. I hand it over back to you, Ms. Desai.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Sharma, for that insightful and detailed exploration. And here you also mentioned about Singapore and the tax holidays. I want to tell you that Gift City is, at least I know it and fondly called as Singapore on the Sabarmati, if that is something that you have heard in the past. But moving on, thank you for that detailed explanation. Moving on, we have Mr. Harshvardhan Bisht, Senior Manager and Sector Lead for the Institutional Investors Initiative from Invest India. A brief introduction. Harsh brings over 8 years of experience in structuring and executing cross-border investments across infrastructure, climate tech, manufacturing, EVs, and healthcare. At Invest India, he leads engagement with more than 300 global institutional investors, including sovereign wealth funds, pension funds, and private equity firms, and works closely with the Ministry of Finance on investment facilitation and global capital partnerships. His expertise span market entry strategy, commercial diligence, regulatory structuring, and co-investment frameworks. An alumni of IIM Ahmedabad, he was recently invited by the Finance in Common Systems Secretariat to a special event under the French G7 presidency in Paris. Harsh, we are very happy to have you join us today and eagerly await your address.
Thank you, Munas. Thank you for the introduction. I hope I'm audible. So, I'll
Yes.
just walk you through some of my slides that I've prepared. So, I'll also give a brief introduction about my organization, my entity. So, Invest India, it's a Section 8 not-for-profit entity under Ministry of Commerce and Industry, and our prime mandate is to bring in more FDI into the country. Please let me know if the slides are visible.
Yes, Harsh. Yes, you may
Super,
proceed.
super. So, like I was saying that, our prime mandate is to bring in more FDI into the country. So we work across different sectors, different teams. We have different country teams. We have a dedicated Europe team, which looks after all the engagements of investors coming from the Europe region. Similarly, we have from Americas, MENA, ASEAN, Oceania, etc., etc. And these investments have to be grounded in, one of the few sectors. So we also do a sectoral deep dive. So I thought maybe before walking to Gift City, I must present a compulsive story on why India. Of course, investors are pretty much aware about India. They understand how the ecosystem works. And that is something, even from our experiences, we have seen that we do not start with why India now. We start with where in India and how in India. So just to give a rough estimate of where India has been in the past, 3, 4 years, you can see the figure on the top left, which shows the GDP growth in the past 3 years. The real GDP growth across countries, it's 7.6 for India. For Germany, it is way below zero point 0.2, of course, for different reasons. But what I'm trying to portray in this figure is that it is not one of a kind spike. This is not cyclical spike, but it is a very structural spike that we have seen in terms of GDP. The figure on the left, on the top left, shows the amount of current account deficit that we have, the fiscal deficit, and these numbers are far below the eurozone deficit that we see, and the forex is also one of the largest in any of the economy. So I feel that when it comes to global uncertainties which have been gripping us all, I think India is fairly in a relative better position to fight these times. The figure on the top drive, which mentions about the drivers of growth, and the consumption is 57.5% of GDP, and now this is what we are talking about. That India is a very demand-driven, consumption-led economy, and we are not dependent on exports as well, which makes it very structurally resilient when it comes to global trade shocks, including those which have been imposed on the Western counterparts. I thought I'll also include this because for my set of investors, this is a slide which talks more about what has been the private equity and venture capital flows in the past 1 year. So the FDI numbers are also here, and just last week those numbers came. So India clocked a gross FDI of around 95 billion in the previous fiscal year, which ended in March 2026. So in the previous year, it was 81. So you see it from 81 billion, we have jumped to 95 billion, and that too in a year which was very, in terms of global shocks, that was very high, and the uncertainties were very high. But India still managed to pull in more FDI numbers. And when it comes to the different sectors, so we have seen that relatively it has been sectors like, financial services, infrastructure, because infrastructure has those ready to made products, products like REITs, products like InvIT, which act as a pooled investment vehicle for foreign investors to invest into the Indian infrastructure story, which is of course long term, but also inflation proof, also where there's a skin in the game by the government of India, and also the concessioners are honored when it comes to the regulators. I'll move on to the next slide. I'll just keep this slide very brief because my audience, of course, we all are here to talk about India, so they are fully convinced on the growth story. But the quick factor that I wanted to highlight is more on the bottom right side, where you see the equity as a percentage of household assets. Now, this figure is interesting because this percentage is 7% as of last year. And in 2019, this number was as low as 3.6%. So what we are trying to say is that the exposure of households, Indian households to the equities has increased over the period of time. And we see more such households betting their products not just into Indian equities, but also via Gift City into foreign jurisdictions. In this slide, the figure that I want to highlight is more on the top right, where the earlier narrative that I was posting with respect to Indian households. Now, today, when we see the Indian equities market, and I'm talking about the NSE and the BSE listed space, the domestic institutional investors, which is the DIIs, they have overtaken the exposure of foreign institutional investors. And this is something which is a new phenomena because traditionally when it comes to India, it was more the risk capital was provided by foreign investors, more institutional capital was flown into uncertain or risky kind of or innovative products by foreign investors. So that equation is now changing, and even I can talk in terms of in length in terms of how that ownership is changing between the blue chip stocks, the small and medium stocks. So that equation, what we see is very positive. Now we have a cushion of domestic institutional investor which is coming in. And therefore, whenever any shocks come, and currently also when we see the Indian equities market, it was actually peaking in September last year and before that, but it has relatively slowed in terms of that threshold that it had reached. But even this domestic institutional investors provides a very solid story in terms of how we are able to cope up with the Indian market. Uh, I think Ashutosh also picked up on the sovereigns and the pension funds. RDI is there operating from Gift City, and this is a list of some of the sovereign pension funds we are working with currently, their focus areas in India, and how our team has assisted. So on the right side, you see the offices of sovereign and pension, which are there in India. Temasek has been in India from quite a long time. GIC is there, Korea Investment Corporation is there, ADIA, Canadian Maple 8. So Maple 8 funds, I think they pretty much understand the Indian ecosystem. So they have been invested here. They have recycled the capital, repatriated that capital, and they have reinvested into the Indian infra story. And just for a matter of fact, when it comes to National Highways Investment Trust, which is NHIT, the INVIT for the roads platform in the country, 50% of it is owned by two Canadians. One is CPPIB and the other is OTPP. Sorry. So that shows the amount of institutional investment that sovereigns have done in the country. Our success story has been in grounding Korea Investment Corporation to open their first office in India, and three other more funds are in pipeline. Now coming to Gift City, and how IFSCA has presented that story, and it has provided that unified regulator approach, because I think it is important to answer that how Singapore was changing, how Dubai was changing. India had to showcase one answer from its own side, and that decisive advantage came from Gift City. So it provides that direct access to the Indian markets from an offshore regulator perspective. And IFSCA is a unified regulator which has combined all the powers of the existing RBI, SEBI, IRDI, PFRD, and all other regulators. So it is not a jurisdictional fragmentation. It is addressed by a single window system. And all the transactions are in hard currencies. You have the USD, GBP, EUR. So the idea is that how can you eliminate INR currency risk at the entity level? And this is one of the questions that many of my funds also say that, hey, we do want to take an exposure to India, but currency risk is something my board finds difficult to match. So you have Gift City as an option, as an answer there. And the critical component of where you are getting 100% profit reduction, for the 20 out of the 25 years is something that corporates are really looking forward to. And that opens a new horizon, even in terms of not just financial entities, but also non-financial entities to enter into this. Widely available reports, so they might also not be updated for the latest number. But the idea is to showcase that, hey, GCCs has already been there on the radar of the corporates and global investors. And the story is very strong because right from 2000s and that generation and that decade, we started with the BPOs. Across AI, big data, cybersecurity have those presence in India, and they have that expertise. And at least 174 of the global 500 Fortune companies have their presence in India. From a German perspective, also, of course, whether it be automotive giants like BMW or Volkswagen or engineering firms like Siemens or Bosch, so they have that option where they can, invest into the Indian Gift City or the IFSCA ecosystem, and that spans across various sectors, right from BFSI, right from fintech, financial technology, and that assures you that it has the highest regulatory alignment with the lowest taxation burden. So that combination is rare. This slide also gives a focus idea about how those hubs have emerged in the country, which all GCCs are present across different regions. So just like you have in manufacturing, so you would find the manufacturing hub more in the Pune region, more in the Chennai region, and you would have the pharmaceuticals zone northern side of India towards Himachal Pradesh, Chandigarh, and that region. So GCCs have also identified, how to cater to those manufacturing or industrial or service industries, and therefore they are closely mimicking the regional allocation of the expertise with respect to other industries. So now the interesting piece here is that 94% of India's GCCs still today are still concentrated in 6 tier 1 cities. which opens a new avenue for tier two and tier three cities for their expansion. And of course, GCC's Gift City is one of the strongest contender there. Uh, the advantage the tier two cities has is that you have a very low real estate cost, the talent competition is lower, and you get relatively faster regulatory approvals when it comes to other larger cities. I'll move on to the next slide. So this slide is more comprehensive and it gives you the clearest commercial argument. I think Monas, you highlighted how Singapore versus other jurisdictions have come up. So this gives a clear-cut distinction in terms of corporate tax, how they are levied in India versus in Gift City versus also I figured out, I tried to pull out some numbers from Dubai and Singapore. And when it comes to the financial sector, the focus of Gift City is very exclusive, and there's no other Indian jurisdiction which is purpose built for financial services. So this is set up in a very fast pace and is on par with Dubai and Singapore, so that the international clients, they get the same operating environment, they are able to get better taxed, and there's also a direct Indian market access, which they found it difficult while entering into India. Now, these are some of the fiscal and non-fiscal incentives that are provided. So if there are any specific questions related to these, I will be happy to address that over and after this conference. The main benefit direct tax is the 20 years tax holiday out of a block period of 25 years, which is directly relevant, even for the audience today when it comes to German banks who are extending ECB loans or managing any bond portfolios. On the indirect side, there's no goods and service tax on IFSC related transactions, and the duty exemption for goods imported into the SEZ. And of course, over and above from the gift city side, there are also certain incentives that are given by the Gujarat state under various policies and schemes. So I think it is also important to explore that. One of the good exemptions is also when there's no stamp duty levied by any of the state. So that gives an additional cushion for companies to, house their operations from gift city. So I also thought finally to give you or showcase you some of the potential sectors, because many of the questions that we receive from the European clients are around green bonds, around emerging sectors like green hydrogen and ammonia. So how is Gift City positioning in terms of GCCs to these particular sectors? How have others participated? And there will be some other presentations in this conference, in this webinar, as to explore you or walk you through the use cases. So this slide might also be relevant at that point in time. So the greens are the buttons where the path has already been there, and there are also certain examples who have said. Yellow is the pace where they are in progress. So you might see, like Ashutosh ji was mentioning regarding the ship leasing and the aircraft leasing. So that has also has emerged as a very proactive market in the Indian ecosystem. You also have the ports and shipping and the IT and ITES services. Renewables has been a very strong bet, because coming from the Gujarat state, which has huge renewables potential, not only in terms of solar, but also wind power. So that provides quite good incentive. And of course, semiconductor is one emerging area, and you would have seen how the semicon parks in India in the Gujarat state have emerged from the Sanand and the Dholera district. So that provides additional benefit. So yeah, so I'll just pause my slides here. So happy to take any questions during this session or after that. Over to you, Manas.
Thank you, Harsh. We keep questions for later. This was a really good take home and a good breakdown of all the opportunities Gift City has to offer. I'm sure most of our participants today are going to leave with definitely a renewed interest in Gift City, if I may say so. And now, ladies and gentlemen, with all these opportunities and initiatives, all these with all these initiatives, one really needs to have an equally strong execution idea. And to take us from all this theory to our real world application, we are joined today by a panel of distinguished experts. And it is my pleasure to introduce you to our three esteemed panelists. I will start with the lady on the panelist, Ms. Dipali Joshi, and an esteemed colleague of mine. Dipali Joshi is a senior strategy consultant with over 18 years of experience in cross-border business consulting and mergers and acquisitions. She has advised and assisted several European and slightly extended, we go around the world, Japanese companies to set up and grow their presence in Asia. Dipali, thank you very much. A heartfelt welcome to you today. Then, moving on, our next speaker truly brings an international perspective. He is Mr. Denny Alpert from Deutsche Bank. Originally from Berlin, he has spent 11 years with Deutsche Bank working closely with German Mittelstand clients across major business hubs such as Berlin, Frankfurt, Munich, and Hamburg. In 2023, he moved to Pune to lead Deutsche Bank's German desk for India. And from there, he managed relations with the DACH region subsidiaries operating out of the country. He continues to head the German desk today, and now he is based out of Frankfurt, where he advises clients on doing business and banking in India. We are delighted to have you, Denny, join us here today. And last but not the least, we have with us Mr. Rao, Ashok Rao, Senior Director Finance for Infineon India. He has been with Infineon for over 2 decades. A chartered accountant by qualification, Ashok has overseen the growth of the Infineon GCC in India, including its latest expansion in Ahmedabad, and has worked closely with the government of Gujarat. His diligence and financial acumen are truly commendable, ensuring transparency and navigating the complexities of finance, thus highlighting, and if I may say, Ashok, elevating the role of a doctor of economic health of Infineon. So, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you today the three panelists. We are honored to have you here join us. And without further delay, we have three industries, three lenses, and one virtual table. So, to start off with, may I ask Ashok and Denny, what motivated your companies to establish a presence in Gift City, and how does it fit into your broader India or Asia-specific strategy?
Ashok, you want to start?
Yeah, thanks, Denny. So thank you, Monas, for the introduction. So we, like you mentioned, Infineon has been in India for 25 years. We've had a presence in Bangalore, which is, of course, the hub of semiconductor design. And having grown here substantially to about 2,500 people, we wanted to diversify our talent pool. And therefore, we started looking at various tier two specifically. And Ahmedabad stood out because it's really the hub of industry in India. Being a semiconductor company, our customers are industrial and electronics, and Gujarat has a very good record there. So the access to the talent pool was what attracted us to Gujarat, to the western part of the country. And in Ahmedabad, the Gift City stood out because it's so very similar to some of these glitzy IT parks that we have in Bangalore or in Hyderabad. And like you mentioned, it is virtually Singapore on the Sabarmati. I wish you could have shown some pictures, but really the power, the security, all of those amenities, under the ground, truly commendable. And we're very happy that over the last 5-6 years, it's really got a lot of traction. So we are located in the domestic tariff area, and we have about 500 seats. And the ecosystem is nice. Employees are very comfortable to commute there, to work there, and yeah, it's really state of the art from our perspective.
Okay, then thanks, Ashok. Then I would take also, as you have asked both of us on that question. So thanks again to MIM for the invitation, and also to you, Monas. And yeah, happy to be here. And to reply to your first question, I think also a lot of what Ashok was saying. So Deutsche Bank is present in India for more than 45 years already, onshore in India. We operate 18 branches onshore. And to all what was said before, yeah, I think Deutsche Bank is one of the companies that is really going all the way. So we started with branches. We have a big GCC setup in India. Yeah, it's our biggest global GCC setup. We have more than 20,000 employees on the ground in India itself, and yeah, as part of this whole construct, definitely when Gift City came up with all the opportunities, also on the capital account side, as mentioned before, yeah, it was actually our customers, yeah, the need of our customers that drove us, yeah, initially to Gift City, but now. Since we established the branch there, it's definitely more than just serving the needs for our customers. We are experiencing a very good environment, and I think this is also what was said before. I think the regulatory body is really something special, yeah, especially compared to what is happening onshore. And as I have a lot of experience with FDIs coming into India, definitely the route out in Gift City is much easier. Yeah.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for sharing that perspective and those thoughts on those positive thoughts. I'm going to plug in Dipali here. Dipali, now from your perspective, a slightly strategic and a more evaluated point of view, how do you compare Gift City with other financial and business hubs, such as Dubai, Singapore, Luxembourg, where German and European companies want to evaluate their Asia strategy?
Monas, thank you for the question. First, I would like to thank MIM for inviting me for this webinar. And yes, I believe that Gift City occupies a very strategic position, because it combines two dimensions that many global hubs like Dubai or Singapore may not offer. So, on one side, we have this internationally aligned financial and regulatory framework, the setup that Gift City offers, as Mr. Sharma highlighted the benefits from tax and financial point of view. And on the another side, it provides direct access to one of the world's fastest growing economies, the industrial ecosystem. So if we compare further with hubs like Singapore or Dubai, of course, we cannot deny that those ecosystems are already highly mature, highly mature global gateways. But this Gift City's proposition of closely aligning the India's domestic ecosystem, which has the manufacturing capability, the engineering background, engineering talent pool, the domestic consumption, the domestic demand. If we combine it with the internationally oriented financial and business environment, it can really stand out in the long term. Further, I would like to add a point, especially for German or many European companies, especially Mittelstand firm. From their perspective, India is no longer only a sourcing destination. It has become a strategic market. It is being looked at as an innovation partner or as a manufacturing partner. So Gift City can potentially serve as a bridge between the global capital structures and India's industrial ecosystem. Of course, this ecosystem is still evolving, and since IFSC is already working on improving several factors, but yes, the trajectory is certainly attracting a lot of international attention, I would say. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. We made note that you've highlighted strategic positioning is important and efficient ecosystem is again a decisive factor for smooth operations. So since we're talking of operations, I'm going to move to the first P of processes. So again, the gentleman ball is in your court. I want to, raise the question on processes. Could you share your experience while with the setting up process, perhaps on approvals, onboarding, overall ease of doing business within Gift City? Who would like to go first?
Yeah, I'll take that first, if you don't mind. Just to give the context, we identified the Gift City as our next location in July 2024, and we were operational in March 25. So this was after engaging with the government, the Department of Science and Technology, and interestingly, we we discussed with the department. We looked at the existing policies, and we requested if some of our requirements would be incorporated. And the government of Gujarat came out with a GCC policy in February 2025. So they were very proactive. They they heard us and they put the perfect policy in it. We applied under the policy, and we were the first GCC to be registered in March 2025. So this moved at the speed of light, and the department also became our single point of contact in order to get STPI approvals, in order to liaise with the GIFT City authorities. And overall, for us, it was a very seamless experience. Now, of course, we've applied for the subsidies, and hopefully we get the approval in the next couple of months. So overall, I've interacted with many government departments, and this was a fantastic experience that we had in the setup.
Yes, and to take this from Deutsche Bank side, this question. So I think if especially, and I only have to echo what Ashok was saying here, especially if you look at what is happening outside of Gift City, I mean, definitely there are a lot of regulatory steps. I don't know if maybe Deepali will also pick it up, but comparable to that, I think the ease of doing business and the setup process and the approvals getting into place in Gift City was like as Ashok said, lightning speed. Yeah. So I think I don't have the concrete timelines as Ashok was having them, but for us it was the same, definitely. Yeah. So we applied, and all the things got sorted out very smoothly, and the process is really done much faster, comparable to what you experience, for example, onshore in different tier one cities in India, as it also was said before. And it's really that easy as going on the website and filling out the forms to apply, and then see your approvals going in. So this is at least what I've heard also from our clients that are setting up in Gift City. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. This is wonderful to hear that how wonderful the processes have been going through. And I think both of you all or everyone here will agree that processes just don't happen on their own. They happen through people. And since you've said that you've had wonderful experiences with the government here, we should give some credit to people. So let me very gradually now move from processes to people. So I'm going to, since you have both have said wonderful things about the process, perhaps you could also throw some light on the people part of it. So let's move to talent. So talent is often a decisive factor. So how was your experience? How has your experience been in sourcing and developing talent locally for your Gift City operations?
Yeah, so Manaz, we started, like I mentioned, March 2025. So it's 5 quarters, and we are already 200 people in our office. So basically, when we went in, we would have been okay with 75 people at this stage, because it's a new office, new geography. So we are really very happy with how we've managed to fulfill targets. The businesses are quite happy about the talent that we've got there. We have open recs as we speak, and almost all parts of Infineon businesses have talents in Gujarat. So specifically in software, we see a good traction. There are some areas where it's easier to get talent in Bangalore, like for example, chip design. But overall, it's been a good experience. Also, in terms of diversity, we are able to attract people from various parts of India to Ahmedabad, to Gift City. We get a good mix of men and women. Ahmedabad is a very safe place for women, is what we understand. and getting this mix and this diversity is very good for us as a company. So far so good.
So oh yeah, I'm open. So I would definitely say the same. So I think the talent pool available in Gift City and definitely all over Ahmedabad, yeah. And I think Gujarat people have their reputation also worldwide. Yeah, people from Gujarat have their reputation, and I think so as mentioned in the beginning, more than eight. I think it's 38 or 39 banks currently operating in Gift City. So for us, it's also and the foreign colleges also coming into picture. So I think there's plenty of talent pool in Gujarat and specifically Gift City. Yeah, can only echo that.
Thank you. Thank you. I think safety and security of human life is the most, it precedes everything else. And for all the young talent who is in our audience today, or even the others, I really hope your words are going to encourage even the women to leave, their homes and travel somewhere else. So this is really very encouraging. Now, as companies scale operations, many of are also looking at India that can be integrated more strategically into their global operating structures. And here I want to loop in Dipali. Um, the question is now shifting from why India to how India. How should we structure our Indian strategy? So, in that context, do you see Gift City remain as a financial sector, or is it evolving into a more broader hub for regional headquarters?
Yeah, Monas. Thank you for the question. It's very interesting question, and I am very happy to apply my strategic experience to this. So in nutshell, I would not call it only as a financial center, but I will call it more as an integrated business ecosystem. Which is aligned with international markets as well as which gives, as I already said, which gives advantage of the domestic market as well, domestic ecosystem. Today, many European companies, or rather international companies, are reassessing their global operating models, due to the supply chain diversification needs, geopolitical shifts, digitization need, as well as increasing importance of Asian markets. So in that scenario, companies are looking not only for market access, for the domestic market access, but also for the efficient regional structures for treasury, financing, even holding entities or innovation collaboration or cross-border investments. So here we can take example of some of the most talked about sectors like sustainability sectors such as green hydrogen, renewable energy infrastructure or battery technology, semiconductors, or any carbon reduction solutions, which are very capital sensitive, which require high capital. So where Gift City can support these partnerships through internationally aligned financial mechanisms such as green bond or ESG linked funds or climate finance solutions or any cross border investments of global funds. As Mr. Sharma also highlighted the benefits of funding through these, having these funds through Gift City. That is the first advantage. Second advantage for this example of sustainability sector can be many Indo-German sustainability collaborations involve technology transfers or joint ventures, intellectual property arrangements, or international, as we said, international financing structures. So where Gift Cities IFSC framework or the tax or the currency benefits, can facilitate smoother foreign currency transactions, treasury operations, investment structuring, which offers a very smooth, uh, what do you call it, cross-border coordination or ease of doing business, especially from financing and management perspective. So, in my view, the real opportunity lies in positioning Gift City as not only as a financial center or destination, but as a strategic gateway, and not only restricted to funds or banks, but at a more broader India and South Asia opportunity, for tech companies, infrastructure companies, emerging markets or emerging sectors. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Dipali. I'm going to pick you up on the opportunity thing here because you've said it so many times. So I'm going to now take this opportunity question and go back to the gentleman here. So looking ahead, what opportunities or trends in Gift City are exciting in Finion and Deutsche Bank the most? What are you looking for in 2026, 2027? Especially after the way India has started January with the Chancellor's visit, and what is on your wish list? If you had to make one, what would it be? Since we have a lot of people from Gujarat joining us today.
Yeah, I'd just like to say that if you look at the Gift City development today, it's probably 40% capacity that's been used. So like I mentioned, you're already 200, the 500 should be done hopefully very soon, and then we look for a new office. But then the infrastructure needs to come up, needs to develop. You know, there are some nagging issues around the last mile connectivity, also the parking. Because it's grown so rapidly over the last 4 years, but still it is at about 40%. Uh, so, so it would be good to see that kind of a plan to cater to this growth that will come in, and then that also makes life easier for us as we expand over the next 2 years.
Yeah, from Deutsche Bank's perspective, I think the first thing is definitely keep it going as it is right now. Yeah, I think what we really appreciate is like the fast movement of Gift City, like the regulations coming out of one body and not several bodies disputing about regulations, coming up with different regulations. So I think this is really a good process to have in place, and it's also very thought through. What is coming out of Gift City and out of IFSCA is really making sense. And this is something I think that if we look forward, this is what we're looking forward to, keep that pace and direction going. And I think from our perspective, we just hope that many more companies seek their way into Gift City, because I mean, we have, as mentioned before, we have a lot of multinational companies, not only from DACH, but also from other locations of the globe. Yeah. And we help them going into India and setting up, especially a lot of GCCs. Yeah. And I think, especially on the GCC side, I think there's and the regional treasury hubs there, we see a lot of more possibilities, and there's a room for more companies getting into Gift City. And I can only encourage all the people listening to us here. Check it out, check Gift City out, and discuss with any of the participants here. I mean, from the panel, but also from the speakers before. I think these are the perfect people to engage, and looking forward to support many other companies into India, but also maybe also giving them some advice when it comes to Gift City.
Yes, thank you. And Denny and everyone here in the audience, I want to say Deutsche Bank is one of our Make in India Mittelstand banking partners. So sorry, I did not mention that before. One more leaf in your hat. So now, Denny, since you've said these encouraging words, if one has to, we would love to have this panel discussion, for a slightly longer period of time, but we really want to cover all the points. So now that you have said these encouraging words, all these positives, if we have to kind of have a wrap up, and this question goes to both of you all, what advice would you, finally offer to German companies, or even those who have a slight interest in Gift City? What advice would you give, considering Gift City as a base for the India operations? If you could sum up briefly, both of you, perhaps top 3 points or 5, whichever way you would like, as to conclude.
Yeah, so Manas, for me, it would be, please engage with the government, the Department of Science and Technology early on in the process. They are extremely business savvy and very helpful. So they will assist, uh, and they will also take care of the single point of contact and sort out your coordinates like they did for us. So that would be important. The second, if you are setting up in Gift City, please also uh, bear in mind that uh, the that if you're getting uh, a building, it's a kind of a cooperation between the gift authorities and the builder. So there would be no objection certificates and various other approvals from the gift authority that would be required. They're quite happy to provide that, but again, it's a process of engaging with them and making things very transparent. Yeah, so I think these would be uh, off the top of my mind two things that I would advise.
Thank you. And Denny?
Yeah, I think first one I share the first point definitely I would share. Yeah, engage with the responsible people, be it IFSCA, be it the local government, the authorities. So I think, and this counts not only for Gift City. So if I take this time now to not only promote Gift City, which I do, and I think I've done a lot already because I'm really convinced that it's a really good solution for especially for the capital market in India. And but if I look at India in general, I think for German or Dach based companies, if they are not there right now, they should be having India on their strategy, on their mind, yeah, with the free trade agreement at least fully negotiated. Maybe it takes time to get it really, yeah, in place. But I think the all all things are set to move forward between this corridor, and there will be a lot of more chances if you go to India right now, and or at least think about your strategy even when you are there. So I think first one is engaging. Second one is really or think your strategy through, not only on gift, but also on onshore India. And I can only share my experience at the third point, maybe. The amount of reach outs that I receive on questions towards how do I invest, I want to invest, is really increasing a lot these days. Yeah, so it's really you feel the pace is picking up, and I can only encourage everybody to think about your strategy when it comes to India.
Thank you, Denny. Thank you, Ashok, for that. And Dipali, this is the perfect time for you to come. I started the introduction with you, but I'm going to now end it with you because Denny has constantly, echoed strategy and investment. And there is this perception about India that when you enter India, you need to have a lot of funds. That is not entirely true. You've always recommended a phased out approach. So if we may have the last word, strategy and investment, some closing remarks for this panel from you.
Yeah, thank you, Monaz. So basically, as I already said, Gift City and at a larger point, India offers a lot of opportunities, not only from the funding and banking side, but also from the innovation collaboration, considering Germany's strength of technology and India's strength as a talent pool and domestic consumption, as well as manufacturing ecosystem, which can be further strengthened by the Gift City, by the offerings by the Gift City. It creates a very important opportunity, as Mr. Rao and Danny has already highlighted. You know, so yes. Along with all the panelists, I will also be open to answer any questions if you have any further. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Dipali, and thank you, panelists, for that incredibly insightful and dynamic discussion. This is what I had promised, right in the start. And we just want to be also in time as we start also to close. I want to thank you, Ashok. Thank you, Denny, for sharing all those the expertise and all the good work that Infineon and Deutsche Bank are doing in India. And additionally, on behalf of the embassy, I want to thank you for partnering with us today. I mean, without that, this would really not be possible. And I'm very grateful, and I hope to continue to benefit from our much valued presence going forward. Now, very quickly, we've been getting a lot of questions. I think we have capacity to take two. Dipali, this one is for you. I'm going to loop you in first here. How can Gift City support India Germany innovation partnerships in the sustainability sector, such as green hydrogen, solar, amongst others? Could you briefly touch upon this?
Yeah, so as I already mentioned during my previous answer, I will just touch upon that quickly so we can take more questions. So as Germany brings in strong capabilities, in advanced engineering, industrial technology, wherein India brings in a growing clean energy market, but then, as you said, how do we can create this ecosystem that allows these complementarities to work together? So, as I mentioned, these projects require a lot of capital intensive. They are in capital intensive nature. So, wherein Gift City can support them through financing mechanism, like green bonds or ESG linked funds, and I'm sure Mr. Sharma can later throw some more light on case to case basis if some participants are interested, in this. And secondly, as I mentioned, we have been helping a lot of German companies in technology transfer, joint ventures, intellectual property arrangements, wherein this Gift City, whatever challenges we generally see or hesitations that we see as an international company in case of foreign currency transactions or investment structuring, those challenges get mitigated with Gift City. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yes, we actually would like Mr. Sharma also to come live here. Mr. Sharma, we do have some questions. I'll start with this one. What support is offered for German startups in Gift City? Would you like to throw some light on this question, Mr. Sharma? Is okay. I think when I see him, I will direct the question to him. But in the interim, Ashok, I have a question here for you. Could you cover some of the incentives that were given from the government of Gujarat for your GCC setup? Something about minimum investments, some initiatives, uh, a little bit on the financial incentives, perhaps. I think this is a question which we've received 2-3 questions surrounding this topic. So it would be for the benefit of all those who've asked questions regarding this.
Sure, Mona. So the Department of Science and Technology has released the Gujarat Global Capability Center policy, GCC policy. This is for the period 2025 to 2030. And broadly, there are incentives on CapEx, OpEx, and uh, and also on certain social security contributions. On the CapEx, just to kind of paint a picture, CapEx, if the total headcount is 500, less than 500, like for example with us, then there is a subsidy of up to 5 million euros paid over 5 years, and this covers the infrastructure investment in terms of the office fit out, computers, and the essential equipment, also lab equipment. And then on top of this, there is a operational subsidy every year, which can go up to 2 million euros annually for 5 years. And this covers things like the rental, the power, the bandwidth charges. So this is what we have. So if you add up the two numbers, it's 5 million for capex and about 10 million for opex. If the employment generation is more than 500, um, I think the number is 2000 or something, then the capex is about 5 times more. So that would be about 25 million. Um, and the OPEX would be double. On top of this, very interesting is that the government also provides a subsidy on the PF contribution by the employer. So the Provident Fund is a social security contribution, which is about 12% of the basic pay. So roughly it's about 2%. So what we see is that we get about 2% of our OPEX back in the form of subsidies. And the claim process is fairly straightforward. It's like Denny mentioned, it's on the online application. The scrutiny is also pretty fast. And yeah, so that would be the incentive in a broad sense.
Thank you. We have another question. I suppose it is better if Mr. Sharma or someone from Invest India also take it up. How is Gift City positioning itself to become a global hub for maritime financing, green shipping corridors, and even alternative fuels? If we can have if we can have Mr. Sharma or Harsh to comment on it.
Sure. Monas, I can comment
Yes,
on the developments that we are witnessing in the maritime
thank you.
financing landscape in the
Yes,
country.
yes.
So
Harsh,
what
we
we are
can't see
seeing,
you. We can't see you.
yeah. So my camera is frozen, I think, but I hope you're able to hear me. Super.
Yes.
Super. So, what the government of India had done some 3 years back was the launching of Maritime Development Fund. So, just like we have the quasi sovereign fund in India, which is the NIIF, the Maritime Development Fund is touted to be the one fund that would be investing into the not just the shipping lanes, but also to build the shipyards and the shipping lines for India. And that was a thought process that came right after COVID when the supply chain lines were disrupted. Now, speaking in that context, the government has finally cemented after discussions with not just the Indian investors, but also the foreign investors, because that is where we want to largely pool the money from. So 49% of this stake would be owned by the government of India, and the remaining 51% is touted to be, pulled in from various institutional players. So as of last month, the fund manager for this maritime development fund has been finalized. So now we have a product, we have a fund manager who will be taking care of the fund, and not just from an allocation perspective, but also from a fundraising perspective. So that is a point where I feel that it rhymes with the capex development story of the government of India, that we need to have 10%, or in the long term 10% of our GDP allocated to infrastructure. So that is where we are standing right now. And also the kind of inquiries we are getting, because now see, it is players like CPP or some sovereign wealth fund who don't want to take that rupee exposure. They want to be invested into the country, and therefore structures like feeder fund comes into the play, and therefore Gift City offers that position that how feeder funds can be set up here, and the incentives flow back to the country and also globally. So that is positioning, and I feel that the fund managers, which who has been recently appointed, they will be out in the market exploring more such appetite from global investors.
Yes, absolutely. And I really hope that the appetite simply increases with time. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your overwhelming response. And thank you, dear speakers, for joining us for this webinar today. And attendees for your patient listening. And we are very happy. Thank you. We can sometimes see these virtual applause emojis that also you send. It's very encouraging to us and the backend team. And to all present here, please look out. We have some wonderful events also coming up in June. It's going to be exciting and dynamic. Please continue to review our LinkedIn homepage. And if you would like to be on our newsletters list, please write to us. Thank you. It's wonderful to see all those reactions. And thank you, Jessica, our backend team, for all those who have supported making this event possible, and your unstinting support. So wishing you a wonderful weekend and a great start to the month of June. So thank you, speakers. Thank you, panelists. Thank you, partners. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.